The I she, her pronouns, and I work for the High Potential program. I've been working here at St. Mary's for a little bit over 3 years, and with High Potential programs specifically for almost 2 years now. And I'm really excited to tell you all about our program. The High Potential program has been around at St. Mary's for a very long time. We just celebrated our 50th anniversary, and we are part of what's known at a larger level as the TRIO Student Support Services Program. You may have heard about programs like Upward Bound, Talent Search, the McNair Scholars Program. So we are under the same umbrella of TRIO programs. So a little bit about HP. So HP is dedicated to supporting students at St. Mary's, and particularly working with students that are first generation, low income, and or students with disabilities. Our office has full-time professional and student staff that dedicates itself to helping your student have a positive experience at St. Mary's, and most importantly of all, stay on track to graduate within the 4 years and or however long it takes for your student to finish their journey here at St. Mary's. Students that are admitted into HP are a part of HP until they graduate. So that's very important. Our students don't have to reapply every year. Once you're admitted into HP, you're a part of the program until you graduate. As I mentioned, in terms of who do we serve, so the criteria in order to be accepted into our program is to first and foremost be a first generation college student. First generation students are those whose parents did not obtain a degree from a four-year institution. And so if you are the first, if you're on your family, or if you have siblings that have gone to college, but they were the first ones to go, you're still considered a first-gen college student. So you're eligible to apply. And then on top of that, or in addition to that, we give priority to students who are low income and or students with disabilities. And for the low income piece, our program works with our financial aid office, and it's the information that you submit in your FAFSA that we use to determine low income status, again, as part of our TRIO criteria. So as long as you're a first generation college student, you're invited to apply into our program. And again, admission criteria is given in priority per the income status and or students with disabilities. A few pieces or components from the program. So essentially, this is what you get if you are accepted into HP. The first HP, the first program component is sales, which is a summer bridge experience. Essentially, for a 2-week time period in July and early August, all incoming first year and transfer students are invited to come to campus for a 2-week program in which you kind of get a sense of what it's going to be like to be a student at St. Mary's. So you get to live here at the dorms for the 2 weeks, you use the dining hall, you go to mock classes, you have homework, workshops, events, all of these things that we put together in efforts of like preparing you for when you start actually attending classes as a student. And this is an experience that is included in you being accepted into the program. There's no additional cost. Again, typically this happens like at the end of July, early August. In addition to that, all of our first year and transfer students are assigned a peer mentor. And a peer mentor is a upperclassman student that's currently in the high potential program that gets paired to work with you and meet with you a couple times a month. They're kind of like your first line of support whenever you need anything when it comes to your classes or just anything in general about being a student. You're able to talk to another student that's trained in how to support you through your time and your transition from high school into college. And then lastly, we have our first year advising cohort. And this is a class that all St. Mary's students take when they are first year students, as well as transfer students. Transfer students, I believe, is called TAC, Transfer Advising Cohort. And the unique thing about students in our program is that they take it with other HB students. So you will be in a cohort with other students that are in the program. And the professor for that course serves as your academic advisor. So they help you make your 4-year plan and help you pick your major and all of those things. In addition to all of those components, which most happen your first year, all students in our program receive a success coach. A success coach is excuse me. Oh, sorry. I lost my presentation. Okay, there we go. A success coach is a professional staff member that works here at St. Mary's full time. They meet with your success coach for any academic, personal, professional, really any sort of support that you need. It's sort of like the second layer, right? So we talked about the peer mentors that see you twice a month. You tend to see your success coach at least once or twice a semester. And so this is somebody that you are expected to meet with a couple of times just to make sure that you set your goals and that you're on track to graduate. Some additional things that happen. So Um, every semester, students in HP are expected to go to a certain number of events. The goal of these events is to help you and for them to be like an opportunity to come together as a community. Sometimes after your first year, you may not see each other as much because you're not in FIAC. And so this is an opportunity to kind of stay in communication with the HP family. So some of the events that we do are social, study halls, some career workshops, things of the sort. We also have just resources in our office. So at the beginning of each semester, we purchased any sort of school supplies that your student might need, like textbook, notebooks, pens, etc. We always have snacks in our office. And we also have an iPad and a laptop loan service. So if your student doesn't have a laptop and or needs an iPad, graphic calculators, we loan those things out on a semester basis. Um, we also have scholarships for our students that are admitted under the low income criteria. And so you would receive a scholarship starting your second semester. This is really important. Our scholarship doesn't kick in until your second semester for up to $2,500, as well as an opportunity to apply for funds for textbooks. And then the last perk that all of the students in our program receive is priority registration. And so this is really crucial once you're starting to kind of hit your second and third and fourth year, and classes fill up fast. Having priority registration lets you get an earlier time to sign up for classes. And so by being in our program, you get priority registration. Our staff, you can see everybody on the screen. There's 4 of us professional staff members, as well as 11 peer mentors that work in our office. We are all available to help you and to support you in different ways. Our director is Shamita Denton, and if you are planning on coming to St. Mary's next year, Kirsten Colty would be the success coach for our incoming first year students. That's likely who you would be working with. Joy Aberkes manages the peer mentor team, and then I am Gabby, as I mentioned. I do all of our outreach and recruitment. Some lastly information about the application process, some things that are important to note. So first, you have to apply to St. Mary's and be admitted to St. Mary's before you can apply to the HP program. And so once you apply to St. Mary's and then you await your decision, once the decision comes your way, you automatically will be receiving the invitation to apply to the high potential program. So what's really important is that when you do your Common App, that you self-identify as a first-gen student, again, based on the definition I said earlier, which is neither of your parents has received an education from a 4-year institution. Once you identify as a first-gen student, you will receive the invitation to apply to the High Potential program. Typically, those invitations go out around February. So for the upcoming year, these would go out February 2025, and it will close in May, typically on the same day as the St. Mary's deposit deadline. This is important because if you apply early, it's just important that you know that all of our applications are reviewed after the deposit deadline. So we only review applications for students who have confirmed that they are coming to St. Mary's. Every year we accept, depending on our graduating class, anywhere between 35 to 50 students. And so that's around the number of students that HP accepts every year. I believe that's all the information that I had. Yep, that's all the information that I have. The best way to contact us is via email, hp@stmarys-ca.edu. But I also will throw in the chat my personal email. So if you have any questions, you can send those directly to me. But that's my presentation. So if there are any questions on the chat or that you want to say out loud, I'm happy to take those on at this time.
Thank you, Gabby. Yeah, if anybody has questions, feel free to unmute, or you can also throw them in the chat, and I will be checking that questions are answered.
Okay, I have a couple questions on the chat. First question is what's the acceptance rate for international students? So at this time, I don't believe that we have any international students. Again, I've only been working for HP for a couple of years, but I don't think that has been the case. That's not to say that our international students aren't eligible. We just haven't had the opportunity to accept one. Um, and then transfer students eligible, yes. So transfer students that again that identify as first generation college students are eligible to apply. They are, for the most part, receiving every same benefit of coming in as a first year student. The only difference or the only choice would come around the summer bridge program. We give transfer students and returning students the option to opt out of the sales summer bridge experience because it requires like cohabitating, living together for 2 weeks without being able to leave campus. And so transfer and returning students that are a little bit more independent often opt out of that experience, but the choice is there to participate. It's just been the case that they tend to opt out. And then when to apply. So again, I'll go back to my previous slide. Our application usually is released around February, and it's made available for everybody that has applied and been admitted to St. Mary's. So you first do your Common App for St. Mary's, and then once you're accepted, you are able to apply to HP.
And then for admissions, transfer students, the deadline for the fall semester is June 1st. But yeah, then if you're interested in the high potential program, I would apply before the deadline.
Any other questions? And transfer students not living on campus attends. Yes. So that's a great question. The sales experience is available for any incoming student that got accepted into HP. So if they are not living on campus for the academic year, they're still able to come to sales and they're able to stay on campus for those 2 weeks. It's a completely separate experience from where you're living on campus. So for example, if you are going to live on campus and you already know that you're going to be living in De La Salle Hall, the chances are is that the sales program will be happening in Midi Hall, which is where it's been happening the last few years. So you're not going to stay like in your room in De La Salle. You're going to stay with us in Midi Hall. We're going to live together for those 2 weeks. Then everybody goes home and then they come back to school during move-in. So yeah, if you're not going to be living on campus, sales is a great opportunity to experience that. And again, it's available to everyone. Uh, Let's see. Okay, I see two questions. If you as a student consider first gen, if he's not just first. That's a great question. Yeah, so again, our first gen definition is a degree from a four-year institution. So if that is not where the degree is from, then the student is considered first gen. When you fill out the common application, you will self-identify as first gen, but then you'll also get asked parent education level. And so you can kind of indicate that there, and it would flag on our end that that's not a four-year institution, so we would consider them for admissions. And then the next question is, are students from Kisha schools guaranteed acceptance into HP? No, there's no guaranteed acceptance for anyone into the high potential program. There's really more so a priority admission criteria. And so our priority admission criteria, again, is first generation student and one of the other two variables, which is low income and or student with disability. International students are eligible if they are first generation. Again, under the two priority criteria, those might differ, but they're most definitely eligible to apply. Um, for sales, yes. So there's sort of like two things when thinking about our students with disabilities being a part of HPN sales. So any student with a disability likely will be working with our Student Disability Services Office and sort of working there to determine accommodations for the year because sales happen before school begins. Those accommodations may not necessarily be prepared by then. So it's important that when your student is like accepting their acceptance into HP and committing to sales, that they communicate those needs, and we do ask for them. So it's just important that those are communicated with us so that we can make the accommodations. For the most part, during sales, our meals are with a dining hall. And so when we work with the dining hall, just like your student would for the rest of the year. You would submit your allergies and restrictions to the dining hall, and if they are, what's the word, restricted enough that it requires them cooking something completely separate and like serving it separately, they do those things as well. So those things are most definitely available. Um, there is no priority for California residents. We encourage everyone to attend, and we actually, in efforts to sort of leveraging the cost, because there's no cost to come to sales, but transportation, if you aren't a California resident or a local California student, may be an extra cost. So we actually just received a gift last year as part of our 50th anniversary, and some of those funds are actually going towards travel funds. So if we have students that are coming into St. Mary's, into HP, that are from outside of California and are outside of the Bay Area and need transportation to come to and from sales, we actually are able to provide that. So we encourage students from all like regions to come to sales and experience that. Can sales students return home in the evenings if being on campus? No, so the nature of the program is again for it to be a summer bridge experience and to sort of practice what it's like being a student on campus. And oftentimes that means living on campus. So for those 2 weeks, students are expected to stay with us and stay on campus because they're under our care. We set very clear expectations prior to committing to coming to sales. And this is why I mentioned where some of our returning or transfer students that are used to a little bit more independence may not be interested in participating in sales because it could be, due to safety and some of those things, a little bit restrictive in the sense that you're not allowed to bring a car and you're not allowed to leave campus unless it's with us in like our structured programming. These are great questions. Thank you, everyone. We still have time for questions. So I believe you've been asking about transfer students, but let me not assume. Yes. So, yes, for transfer students, because thank you, Monica, for saying this earlier, because for transfer students, the deadline to apply is not until June, but we will start reviewing applications likely in May for the undergraduate deposit deadline. If you're a transfer student, I would encourage you to apply definitely before May. So sometime between February and April would be good for transfer students. Just because if you apply in June, there's a possibility that we still have spots to fill, and we most definitely can still have our application open, but that's only if we need to fill those spots. And our program has historically for the last couple of years, at least that I've worked here, has had a wait list, which means that we've had more students apply than we can accept. Hey, I don't see any more questions. Monica?
Nope, I don't think so either. Can wait another minute, but if not, yeah, thank you everybody for joining us today. And thank you, Gabby, for your great presentation on the High Potential program. It is one of my favorite programs at St. Mary's and love to tell students about it when recruiting. Um, but yeah, Gabby did put, oh, here we go. We got a question. Gabby put her email in the chat. So if anybody has additional questions, you can reach out there as well. And I'll put the admissions email in case anybody has any additional questions. Um, okay. But yeah, thank you everybody. I hope you have a great night. Um, yeah, and look forward to seeing your applications hopefully at St. Mary's. Great. Thank you, Gabby.
Thank you. Bye.